wise to stay inside, especially if you've got a health condition, and especially on Monday where it looks like it's going to be 40 degrees. But I have to give a shout out to a friend of mine who sent me a story that I'm told is a little bit old. It's from the Daily Mirror. And I want to thank this friend because, I can reveal their gender to say that, she's concerned about women anywhere, well, everywhere. There is a story in the Daily Mirror that says women are warned not to put ice lollies in their blank. It's like dirty blankety blank to cool off in hot weather. I can't imagine why anybody would do that. Except to say that my friend also wrote that she's gone out and bought a load of fab lollies. All I can say is I don't know, but how would you hoover up all the hundreds and thousands? Anyway, whilst we're thinking of that, it's now time to jump over the pond to our very own professor stateside with Prof JC, Professor John Christopher Buer, White House correspondent at Real Political News. How are you today, Professor?
I'm very well. I've taken a break. I'm at the beach, as you might see.
Looks lovely out there.
I'm happy to be with you. And I hesitated to go in after that little sort of X-rated intro, but it was charming and it's lovely. And you look as cool as a cucumber.
It's nice and cool in here. And there's a friend of mine. She's worried. She worries about that sort of thing, and always likes to give me any other sort of business story. On any other business, coming to President Joe Biden, who's just had a tour of the Middle East. I have to say, I didn't get much coverage here, but there was some really interesting takeaway. He met with Israelis, members of the Palestinian communities, and the Saudis. Now, one of the interesting things, which again got almost no coverage on this side of the pond, bearing in mind we're, as you know, in the process of trying to elect a new prime minister here, was the fact that he made a sort of joint statement making clear with the Israelis that Iran should not get a nuclear weapon. But they very much disagreed,
yes,
it seemed, on how that should be done. Can you just explain that to listeners?
Well, his counterpart, I did see that interview, and his counterpart was very adamant about we will use force if we have to. And Joe Biden is not in the force mode, as you can tell by the way he's dealing with Putin and other things. So, and he wants to bring everybody together, but he did not like the force concept. He said, "We'll work, we'll negotiate. That's why I'm here."
You wonder about that. I mean, some people feel that if I don't know, it's hard for you. It's like ashes in your mouth, the idea that one might want to give Donald Trump any credit. But, even people in the Democratic caucus have said that whatever your view of Donald Trump, the Abraham Accords are some element of legacy in terms of creating peace in the Middle East when you think about the peace accords with Israel, Qatar, and so on and so forth. And one wonders whether or not the absence of America at least threatening the possibility of strength gives succor to Iran or not. And that was certainly sort of Trump's rhetoric. What do you think about that?
Well, Trump pulled out of the nuclear agreement. I mean, he literally pulled out of it. So I don't know. This all depends. These states, these cultures, these individuals, as you know, have been around for centuries. We're a very new republic, and President Biden I just saw him fist bump Mohammed bin Salman, which is probably has made a lot of Americans cringe because of what he's been accused of with Jamal Khashoggi.
Right.
But Biden is there to negotiate. As Kennedy said, never fear to negotiate, never negotiate out of fear. And I think Biden is trying to do that. Mm-hmm. And he's now in Saudi Arabia talking with the royal family. And he's going to do what he can to bring Israel. And he flew from Ben Gurion to Riyadh, I believe. Yeah. And this is the first time. And they're opening can you imagine an El Al?
Right. It's an extraordinary thing. I mean, part of it is a kind of global realpolitik, which is a posturing. So, you've got to speak to people you disagree with. And one of the things that America, my enemy's enemy is my friend. One of the things that the Sunni majority countries agree on and unites them is their vehement anti-Iranian position. And bearing in mind the existential threat that Iran poses to the West, it funds terrorists. For example, we know about that. Its relationship with Hezbollah, for instance, and any number of other things that it does around the world. You know, one wonders, looking at those pictures, whether one feels that you can justify them, or whether the American public kind of think, you know, in a world which looks like democracy is increasingly under existential threat, that's a wise visual.
Well, I think the Americans are concerned about filling up their gas tanks and during this hot summer while they try to get to the beach. And I think gas and inflation are number 1 and 2 issues. So Joe Biden, in a sense, had to take it back, had to bite the bullet, had to no longer be MBS as a pariah, and literally fist bump the guy, which is all the photographers went wild with that photo op. I can tell you that, Rob.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's one of those things. Whoever advised him. I mean, this is a man, as you know, that's been more than accused. I mean, the evidence of the killing of Khashoggi and his relationship with him looks pretty incontrovertible. Now, talking about incontrovertible evidence, we continue to watch with interest the January 6th committee, and the DC Met Police have corroborated what Hutchinson had to say. How significant is that?
It's very significant. He's a local cop, basically. He's a cop who was in the motorcade, and he's corroborating. And this is as well as Scipione is corroborated with the young lady who was extraordinary witness last week. But here's a little breaking news for you. Yeah. The IG, the Inspector General from the Department of Homeland Security, met with all 9 members of the January 6th committee, and he is very upset about the Secret Service. For some reason, all their data for January 5th and 6th has migrated like birds flying off into the sunset.
Wow.
He doesn't know. He's very, very concerned that this might have been done surreptitiously and with bad intentions. So he's been with them, and we're going to have, Trump has now been witness tampering. It's proved that he's been calling witnesses, and one witness was so smart, he must have had caller ID. It must have said, Trump, Trump, because the guy didn't answer the phone. He contacted his lawyer because, as Liz Cheney said a few days ago, that they would be going very full into this, and that those people will be coming to the committee next time.
How significant is it that it looks like Steve Bannon may appear as a witness on the January 6th committee?
Well, he's under investigation. I believe his trial starts tomorrow.
Right.
But he's getting a full Monty, as you would say. He's on CNN is doing an entire piece on him Sunday night, and Bannon loves the publicity. He's the hub of the wheel, and he's a very powerful and difficult individual, to say the least. And he is at the heart of this. He's very instigated this insurrection, and he pushed the people, and he said, come on in and strap it in. I don't know what he's talking about. Sounds a little vulgar, a little bizarre, but he goes, strap in. We're going all the way. We're going to have an amazing time. And he was instigating these troops, as well as Donald Trump, instigating them for the insurrection. And he'll get his eventually, as my father used to say.
Well, I mean, you say that. I mean, one of the things that's unusual legally is to watch somebody give evidence in a in a public forum, in effect, one which has threat of perjury attached to it in the January 6th committee, at the same time be on trial, where the evidence could also matter in that case. It's pretty odd. Can you explain to us how that's possible?
Well, it's different. The executive department is the one who's garnering all of this information. And the only way that these people can be prosecuted is if it goes to the Department of Justice. And Attorney General Merrick Garland is the one who has to bring that in and get the indictments going. And that doesn't happen from the executive. This is about, if they lie, it's one thing. But this is about getting the evidence and getting the information. And I think those 9, headed up by the amazing job from Liz Cheney and others, are coming up with some very, very, very interesting, committee hearing witnesses. Yeah. And I think we'll see how this plays out, and how Merrick Garland, he's afraid to be too political.
I think it's the right thing. I have to say, I admire Merrick Garland, right? I know people want him to be political, but one of the things I'm really proud of, and no doubt when you come here, you'll spend time, I hope, and I'll show you some of our Treasury Counsel and our Attorney Generals, just how removed an arm's length they are from government, how non-political they are. And as you know, the leader of our opposition is now Keir Starmer, and he did that job for a really long time. And part of the reason he's not effective as a politician is because of his dispassion as a lawyer, that he hasn't had to think politically. And I do think, frankly, that people should wait and see what Merrick Garland does. But rather than, frankly, trying to persuade him or conscripting him to rush to judgment, him stepping back to see where the chips fall is a wise thing. Quickly before you leave, Prof. JC, it looks like through executive fiat, they're trying, or President Biden is trying to find a way of codifying a post-Roe v. Wade world. In other words, to enable people to obtain abortion in states where they're trying to ban them. How is that going to work, and will it survive?
Well, he has to have the support of the House, and at this point, it doesn't look like it. He's trying to do some executive orders in terms of the Department of Health and Human Services and break that barrier. But he's going to have a tough road to hoe, because he doesn't have the amount of votes that he needs to codify the opposing legislation to Roe v. Wade. Right. So it may be struck down in the courts, but he's going to it'll take time. And he's going to take the shot.
It'd be interesting to see what the Department of Health and Human Services try to do there.
That's Trump's appointee, so we'll see.
Well, let's see. I'll be watching that space. As ever, clear and to the point. It's our very own Prof. JC across the pond. Delight to see you. Stay cool. This is me live from the coolness of the Talk Radio studio. This is Talk TV, and you're listening to me till 7 o'clock. What a lovely day it is.